right, so we can't talk about dinosaurs without talking about Tyrannosaurus rex.
Sure.
I read in your book that T-Rex was first uncovered in 1902 in Montana. What have we learned about T-Rex? What makes T-Rex the king of all dinosaurs?
Well, it's an amazing dinosaur. You know, the earliest dinosaurs discovered have the most fame, and I think that's because they've just been in pop culture longer than the others. But T-Rex is really deserving of that fame. It was huge. It was probably the biggest meat-eating dinosaur, certainly the biggest one that we know about. It seems to have had the most powerful bite ever possessed by a land animal. It seems to have had, there are papers about the sensory perceptions of T-Rex. It seems to have had eyes that were probably more visually acute than hawks today. Great olfactory senses. It's controversial, but many papers think that T-Rex was really fast. There was a paper out this summer that said it was slow, but
I saw that.
But I think most think that it was a pretty speedy dinosaur. So, and surprisingly, it's reasonable to think that T-Rex was also a feathered dinosaur.
Oh, yes. You never see that in the Jurassic Park movies.
You don't, and no one has recovered feathers from a T-Rex because to preserve big bones, they need to be covered quickly by sand, and sand isn't the right medium to preserve feathers, but it's parsimonious to think so because we have relatives on one side of T-Rex, like tiny little dinosaurs like Sinosauropteryx, which are feathered, and dinosaurs on the other side, like birds. So you would think that T-Rex being in that group, probably that these dinosaurs got their feathers from a common ancestor, and that's also the common ancestor of T-Rex.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so T-Rex was probably both terrifying and fancy.
All right, but he had such tiny little arms. Why do we think that the arms were so small on T-Rex?
Well, they were. We see the bones. They have these little withered kind of scrawny arms with these two little witchy fingers sticking out there. And you can search online and you see lots of internet memes ridiculing the little Lilliputian arms of T-Rex. T-Rex can't put its hat on. If you're happy and you know it, oh, never mind. Or T-Rex sitting on a throne of sorts, unable to wipe its bum.
T-Rex can't do push-ups.
Can't do push-ups, yeah. But oftentimes in evolution what we see are trade-offs, and some trade-offs that appear to favor weaknesses really provide strengths in other areas. They could be strengths in the efficiency of the animal, or in T-Rex it might be something else. There's a paleontologist in Los Angeles, Michael Habib, who I think has a brilliant explanation for the biomechanics of T-Rex arms, which is that we know that T-Rex has the most powerful bite ever on a land animal.
Yes.
To have a powerful bite, you need really big jaw muscles. To have really big jaw muscles, you need a really big skull, and if you're going to have a really big, heavy skull, you need really big neck muscles to hold up that head.
Yes.
And the neck muscles and the arm muscles compete for muscle attachment space in the shoulder.
Oh, so that would make sense to have tiny arms.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to have that really big bite with a really big head and a really big neck if you also have really big arms. So those tiny little arms may have helped give rise to the most powerful bite ever on land that could crush a dinosaur skull with one bite. And I think that makes those arms a little less funny now, doesn't it?
When you think about it that way.
Yeah.
You also mentioned if T-Rex had longer arms, what might a disadvantage have been?
Well, with longer arms, this again is Michael Habib's work, and looking at longer arm predators like Allosaurus, even with those longer arms, Allosaurus can't reach its mouth. If it was hunting, it would have to overrun the prey and sort of let it bounce off its chest and grab those. And the other thing about arms or any body part is they're expensive, right? It takes energy to make arms, it takes energy to maintain arms. And if you have arms, well, they can be broken, they can go pathological on you, you're not going to get a disease in a body part that's not there.
Makes sense.
So there's a cost to everything in evolution, and if that cost isn't less than the benefit that you're reaping from that, those things go away.
So these tiny arms actually make a lot of sense when you look at it that way.
They might be the key to the power of T-Rex. And there's a great quote that I like by the poet Marge Piercy, and she says that strengths and weaknesses are children of the same womb.
That illustrates it really well.
Yeah.